Non-profit road agency Justice Project South Africa says it is saddened by the Easter holiday death toll. Transport Minister Dipuo Peters announced in Pretoria on Wednesday that the 2015 provisional road death toll stands at 287. It is an increase of about 45% over the same period last year. For more on the story, we are joined in studio by Justice Project South Africa's Director, Mr. Howard Dembovsky. Sir, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on AM News.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
Howard, let's get straight into it. Are you surprised by the sharp increase in road fatalities this Easter?
Very sad to say no. The fact is that unfortunately things have been getting worse and worse as time goes on, and there's been no new initiatives to curb this tragedy that we have on our roads. I think people need to come to realize that more people die on our roads every single day than die in war zones around the world. It's an absolute tragedy, and unfortunately we really do need to start taking this very seriously and taking stern action.
What needs to be done? What's that stern action you're talking about?
Well, the problem is that the Department of Transport has tried the same things year in, year out, and expected different results. And it's not yielding those results, and it's a sign of insanity to keep doing the same things and expecting different results. The fact is that we need to, number one, we need to start enforcing our laws on a daily basis, moving violations. And we're not referring to speed prosecution only. That is almost the only form of traffic law enforcement that takes place in South Africa. We need to start nailing people who are overtaking on blind risers, on roads where there's no overtaking permitted, etc., etc. And that's one of the first things we need to do. The second thing that we need to do is we need to upgrade the skills of our drivers. Unfortunately, the K53 system was brought in 1989. In the same year that it was abolished in the last place in the world that it existed. And we've had no review of our driving license testing system since then. We don't test people for their perceptions of hazards. I don't think people can actually identify hazards. I think people have come to believe that they're invincible. And unfortunately, that also stems from this lack of law enforcement. And it was revealed in 2002 that half the driving licenses issued between 1998 and 2002 were defective. In other words, they'd been bought. Now, if you speak to anybody who's going for a driving license these days, they're telling you how it costs you 2,500 Rand to buy your driving license. If you can buy a driving license as an unqualified person and get out on our roads, do we need to really ask why we've got this problem?
Howard, look, according to your surveys that you've done, what seems to be the most prevalent factors that actually cause these accidents? The Transport Department highlighted drunk driving or driving under the influence as one of the biggest. What did you find?
Well, the fact is that one of the main causes of collisions remains head-on collisions. Now, a head-on collision can only occur if somebody is on the wrong side of the road. It's as simple as that.
True.
Driving under the influence of alcohol has been a huge problem in South Africa forever. And unfortunately, we're not tackling that properly because we don't get the blood results back in time. And these matters are delayed and delayed and delayed, and they're eventually withdrawn. And this is a huge problem. But the fact is that if we could just stop this nonsense of overtaking where it is not safe to do so, and stop these head-on collisions, which I might add, a lot of them are as a cause of bravado. And when I say bravado, someone saying, someone else is going to chicken out quicker than me. And unfortunately, we need to start driving defensively and recognize the hazards that are coming towards us. Otherwise, we've got no chance.
Howard, look, there are road safety campaigns launched in every province, every single year, before every certain period. But are these laws taken seriously by motorists, do you think? Do you think that adherence is the biggest problem that we have when it comes to road users?
Oh, most certainly. The fact is that road users commit so many moving violations on a daily basis, and it's unfortunate because that kind of behavior builds up over time when you're allowed to get away with little things. Those little things become bigger things, and the bigger things become crashes, and the crashes become fatalities and serious bodily injuries.
Howard, look, Transport Minister Dipuo Peters on Wednesday said that government is in talks to soon introduce a new system where Metro Police officers can randomly just stop motorists and retest their driving. Do you think this is going to help? It was also in the newspapers this morning.
Yeah, well, we think that's absolutely hilarious. Firstly,
Why?
the National Road Traffic Act makes no provision for a traffic officer to stop somebody and randomly test them. Secondly, a very, very small proportion of our traffic officers in South Africa, never mind metro policemen, traffic officers, because we must remember that there are 287 municipalities, 8 metros and 9 provincial traffic authorities in this country. But very few of those traffic officers are actually qualified driving examiners. So what are we going to have? We're going to have the blind examining the blind on their skills in handwriting. Is that what we're going to do? It's a very, very stupid idea. Whoever came up with that idea should be summarily fired.
Let's look at something else that could be done instead of this, Howard. What would you propose as a viable measure?
Well, the first thing that we need to do is get rid of the systemic corruption that we have both in driver licensing and in traffic law enforcement.
We have to treat the symptoms here.
Anything else we try, and no, we need to treat the cause. We're currently running around trying to treat the symptoms. The fact is that if we try anything else and there's still corruption, we're going to get nowhere. And these people who are taking bribes and paying bribes need to understand that it is not just a simple little convenience fee that you're paying. You are killing people in the process. I'll give you an example. You come along and you're stopped by a traffic official who says that you did something wrong. You know you didn't do anything wrong, but you don't want to get a fine anyway, so you just give him some cho-cho. Okay. Along comes a drunk driver, and that traffic officer offers that person exactly the same terms as you were offered, and they let them go. And I'm talking about a paralytically drunk driver. They let them go, and they come careering along and crash into you. They don't kill you, they kill your family. How are you going to feel about the fact that you enabled that traffic officer to take and solicit bribes from people? Please, this is not just a moralizing issue. This is an issue that goes right to the heart of why people are dying in our country.
Howard, very quickly before I let you go, what's your organization doing about, to try and help the scourge of these road fatalities? What is your organization doing?
We're involved in a number of different projects, and we bang on the government's door on a daily basis. Let's call it a brick wall. It's not a door. Our heads have significant bruises, but there are legislative changes that need to be brought about. Unfortunately, most of our traffic law is very good. Okay, but there are legislative changes that need to come into place, not least of which is we need to urgently implement a points demerit system for people who hold driving licenses. And if they misbehave themselves on an ongoing basis, we need to suspend their driving licenses. There's no question about it.
All right. Where can one get hold of you guys if they have any information or suggestions for
on our website, www.jp-sa.org.
Howard, thank you so much for your time and knowledge right here on AM News.
Thank you.
That was the director of the Justice Project for South Africa, Mr. Howard Dembovsky, talking to us about the recent road fatalities during the Easter holidays.